Hey, how are you? 9 months to 100 kilometres. I think this is week 14, fast approaching Christmas. This time next week, Christmas will be been and gone. It also poses the biggest challenge that I believe I've got over the next 2 weeks, which I'll talk about very shortly. But first and foremost, let's just talk about the past week. I managed to run 15.6 or 15.7 miles. On Tuesday night, which was an amazing effort. I say so myself, fan of my own work. I don't mean that. I mean, when I say an amazing effort, I think it's just, when I think back, in fact, actually, a guy called Phil reminded me today. He said, thinking back to the start of your journey, did you believe you could run 15 miles? And no, I didn't believe I could run 15 miles. So that's why I think it's an amazing effort, because the distance that I ran yesterday seems so unbelievable 14 weeks ago. And then when I think about some of the lessons that I've learned just this past week, it's been phenomenal. So let's have a think. The first lesson, so the last couple of weeks, I have had on the long run on a Tuesday, I've had somebody running with me, a man called Ian, who is an absolute legend. Lovely man, and he's been uber supportive. He has run long distances before, done long distance events, and I trust him to help me, believing that he can help me, and he has been helping me. And he's coming from a place of, his motivation is to help me run the ultra marathon without getting injured. So that's the level of care and support that he is putting into his advice, is with the which is so appreciated, and it's just coming from the just such a genuine place that I believe in Ian. I believe that Ian can help me. I believe that and trust in his support. And what happened this past week is, so I ran the longest distance. I ran the 15.7 miles, but Ian was not there, although he was. But he was there in my head, because any time that it got a little bit difficult, I started to ask, what would Ian say? What would Ian say? And it'd be, relax your neck, relax your shoulders, breathe deeply, lift your heels. And all of these things. So at the point when I struggled, I just asked myself, what would Ian say? And that, I think there's so many parallels between that and what I do during the day, in terms of, we've got to build trust, we've got to build belief, and then the impact is that actually, even when people aren't there, they may still ask, or may still think about, what would Ian say, or what would Lee say? And I think that just shows the level of impact that people can have on you, when they are or they are not there. They're still with you. I also have tried some gels. So last week I crashed on a gel. So I think I took it a little bit early. Or I realised I've taken it too early. So Tuesday, I decided to take it a little bit later into the run, and so I run further. And I still only needed the 2 gels, but I felt all right as well throughout. The last 2 miles yesterday, though, was horrendous. Those were the hardest and those were the slowest miles that I've run, and so that for me shows that actually I am at my limit now. Also, my legs started to seize a little bit, so I got to Tesco for my tea and get myself a microwave meal, healthy body and all of that stuff. And on the way from Tesco to the hotel, my legs started to seize a little, which now means that actually maybe what I'm taking is, I need to take more. So I need to take more electrolytes in my drinks, or more salt. I need more salt intake. I need to not skip leg day at the gym, and I need to work on the muscles on my legs, because my cardio efforts, and I felt, I guess from a respiratory perspective, from a breathing perspective, I felt all right. But what was letting me down Tuesday night, was my legs. My legs were letting me down, and that's the first time that's happened. They felt heavy, and then they started to seize afterwards. So I now need to really focus on that aspect as well. So I do have a plan for the new year. I've got a little plan for this for the next coming weeks as well. But I really need to work on my chicken legs. That's the next area of focus. This has been an absolutely phenomenal learning exercise for me the last 14 weeks. And when I completed yesterday, I recorded a little social media post and I said 15.6 or 15.7 miles done, which is more than half a marathon. It's about a quarter of the ultra marathon, and it's the furthest distance I have ever run in my life in a single instance. And all three of those things, I don't know which one's had the most profound effect on me, but what I've started to gravitate towards is the not focusing on it being the longest run I've ever run, not focusing on that it's more than half a marathon, because the marathon now feels believable, feels like I can actually achieve it. But I've been focusing a lot on it's the quarter of the ultra marathon. So Phil, who I mentioned earlier on, sent me a message as well. Only you just got to do what you did last night 4 times, plus up and down the hill, which was really motivational. But that really has focused my mind. Really, this is my next aim, isn't it? So because I feel that the marathon is achievable. Because like just running further than I've ever run before is an amazing thing, I've still got a goal, and the goal is this ultra marathon, and I've only run a quarter of it so far. I've got to run another 3/4 of what I did last night. That seems unachievable at the minute, but that's where my focus is as well. So it's just fascinating how my mind is working and how it gravitates towards actually the big old task and the big old challenge and target, as opposed to celebrating the longest distance that I've ever run. What motivates me more than anything is having this big task and big challenge, and that is what's really keeping me going, which is just fascinating. So there you go. That's my little update. Longest distance, which is a quarter of the ultra marathon. That's how I've got to be talking now. I guess the next aim is half of an ultra marathon, which is actually more than the London Marathon. Crazy, absolutely crazy. But then I come into my biggest challenge, because what I've benefited from is working away from home, because I've been able to have a routine. But it's actually meant that I've not with the family, which I don't like, but from a training perspective, it's actually benefited me, because I've been able to have a routine. I've been able to have Tuesday night as my long run night, Thursday night as a run night, Monday and Wednesday pop into the gym, and then it's just left me to do a shorter run at the weekend, which has all been manageable. But for the next 2 weeks, I am at home. Christmas is there, so there's a lot of family time, and I've got to try to fathom a way how to work my way through the training plan. I'm not going to go for a long run next week, because apparently I need like three build-up weeks and then one more relaxing week. So I'm going to use next week as a more relaxing week, but I still need to get out, and then the week after I need to then start again. So there you go. The journey continues. 9 months to 100 kilometres, but now it's only about 6 months now, isn't it?